I'm that person.
Oh, people always come, and don't worry.
So,
And then, so it started, gonna start in just a second. It's loading. Um, is that we'll get many more um uh what viewers after the fact too. So
oh,
okay,
okay.
we're starting. There we go. So there's a lag,
Wow.
and I have my volume on. Excuse me, sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today I am joined by Stephanie Allen. Stephanie Allen is a beautiful soul that I have had the joy to interact with in many ways. And she has a wonderful channel every single morning. That's actually me that is always consistently watching. She does some amazing readings and just has a wide variety of knowledge and information that she just shares freely. And so I asked her to join me today on this live. And so welcome, Stephanie. How are you?
Thank you, Pamela. I am wonderful, actually. I could not ask for more. My life is full and I am able to be of service, and that's my pinnacle, but I know it's going to get better and I know it's going to go bigger. So I'm
Yeah.
excited. Life's good. Excuse me for just one moment. I forgot to turn on a lamp so you could actually see me.
Okay. The if any of you have any questions, by the way, as we have our chat, we will be paying attention, so we'll answer any questions that you might have. Let's say hello. Jenny's here. Hi, Jenny. Tommy, greetings back to you, sweetie. Jenny says, Stephanie, you look radiant. I'm so excited to be here with you and Pamela.
Well, thank you. How kind. I appreciate that. I'm excited that you're here.
We have often people will, oh, look, yep, Mother Nature. She's so excited about the unicorn hat too. I love the hat. It's really
Thank
awesome.
you. I got it for a 7-year-old's birthday party, and I keep it in my car because when people are acting like all 3D and crunchy driving, or they look like they need to cheer up, I'll put it on, toot toot, and wave at them.
I love it.
And more often than not, I get a smile and I'm like, oh, thank you, I needed that. So, that to me, that's shining your light in the world.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
We infect
Yeah.
the world with joy. It's
Yes.
it's almost truly like an infection because you can watch how it ripples through.
Yes. Yes.
And one of the things that really draws me to Stephanie is the frankness of her, and the fact that she won't let anyone kind of like, she's really good at saying no and standing in her no with love and with strength. And you don't see that. I have not seen that as much throughout my life in the female form. And so it's been really fun to watch that, because as Stephanie came into my life, that was when it was time for me to start practicing my no.
Yes.
And she's just a beautiful example of that strong divine feminine. I was just wondering, how long has that been something that you've been able to access? Like, is that something that's newer for you, or?
Well, my love, I could outspit any boy at the Crossroads Mall at the age of 12. So um, I have always had a well-developed divine masculine and a masculine side, and the way that relationships have played out in my life, I have to be both the masculine and the feminine for this entity, for this embodiment. So, and I don't miss, I don't miss having a second person. I have my animals, right? And because I'm telepathic, we have conversations. I mean, no, they don't help with the dishes, but then again, they don't make any dishes either.
Right.
So, but yeah, and I was a biker, and I was one of the first women in the Seattle area to ride a Harley, with the boys. They gave me the flag because I could outride them, and I carried the flag for my ABATE chapter, and I mean, it was just, I kind of have this policy of, if something appeals to me, I just go, and I go all in. Now, that has gotten me in trouble quite a few times, but it has also taught me the value of no. I said no. I mean no. Stop asking, yeah. And interestingly enough, it was the substances. It was in the biker era, It was back in the early 80s, and, cocaine was all the rage. And so, we did ourselves broke. I mean, literally broke. We're about to be homeless. So we had to stop. And the people that we partied with and rode with weren't stopping. And they didn't want to take no for an answer. And we knew that even one beer, even one puff, even one anything would set us off and running, and we would lose everything, our bikes, everything, right? So that's when we had to stand up and, I said no. That was my friend. He's in spirit now. Funny Sonny. He was the president of the Purdue chapter of the Hells Angels. And so he would ride with me. And I mean, that's like an honor for a Hells Angel to ride with a woman,
Yes.
So
yeah. I'm familiar with it a bit too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You are. Yeah. But they might not be. So the folks listening might not be. Yeah. So, he taught me to be serious about my no. He began the process, Yeah. So,
that's really cool.
Yeah. And my awakening process has been protracted. It's like slowly come on, more concentrated in the last 15 years. But definitely so in the last 5 to 6 years. Yeah. And so it's like the deeper I dive into spirituality, into metaphysical, into myself, into getting the answers from within, the more developed and interesting the value of loving myself has become.
Yeah.
And that has been really, it's like one of the biggest challenges of my life, At most starseeds, light workers, we come into these families, these dysfunctional families, and they teach us we're not worth anything, we can't do anything. And so why are you even trying? I mean, really, why are you even trying? Just give up, lay down, and, screw off your life, And so reclaiming that power. And after you get the power back, you think, what am I going to do with it? Well, I want to love someone. Well, and what my team has told me is, how do you think you can ever possibly love someone if you can't love yourself?
Yes.
You're not presenting them an authentic person if you don't love who you are. And if you don't love who you are, change it. Yeah. Get off your fanny and change it. And I've done a lot of that.
Yeah, good for you. Yeah. And the thing is most of us are the person that we want to be. That's the thing. That's why we're unhappy, because we're trying to wear someone else's shoes. We're trying to be a person than we actually are.
Exactly.
It said my internet connection's unstable. Did you hear what I said just now? Was it okay?
It's kind of coming in and out, and it went a little fuzzy, but sometimes it does that when I get really high frequency, when my energy goes boom. I've blown out at computers. I used to work in corporate, and the overhead lights, those what do they call them? I don't know. She's gone. Oh, am I still on? Hi guys. I don't know. I can't even see a chat. Okay, so you want me to sing a song? I don't know what. There she is.
Hello. There we go. Sorry. Is it still streaming? I hope so.
It says live YouTube at the top, so I think so. Good. I offered to sing a song.
That was very kind of you to offer. I typed in 111 and then my internet completely went out.
Oh, how about that?
Just a moment. I was gonna. So that's showing exactly what I was gonna tell you. I'm the same. When I go on Todd's show that the second time when we were trying to get started, he said, "I think this is." I was saying, "Oh, solar flares," and he was like, "Pretty sure this is going to be a standard when we talk to you, Pamela, because that's just the energy that we are keeping right now."
Right.
And so everyone, I'm sorry. Thank you for sticking around. I see there's a lot more questions I could.
Oh, good. Address. But first, do you want real answers or shall I make something up?
Real. Very.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. My only really guidelines about this is stay clothed and try not to be mean to anybody. Like that's, you know what I mean? So what I'm telling you is don't have any guidelines.
Don't have any fun. I'm joking. I used to not be worried about showing my body off. I'm old now, though, and it's not pretty anymore. I've got bingo wings, a term which I love.
I'm starting to get those.
I love that term, though. I mean, it's so apt. You say bingo wings, and every female knows exactly what you're talking about, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, babe. Ask away.
So we have so Mother Nature 61 says, I'm loving the birds. There's a bunch of people. Let's see, I saw a couple. Everyone's mentioning the unicorn horn and loving it.
Yay.
Prithvi says, I like your vibe, Stephanie. So loving.
Thank you.
Jenny says, is that why I dreamed about motorcycles last night?
Probably.
And Jacques Marie, hey everyone, love you. Oh, it's good to see you. And then they're having a talk with each other. Sing it, Stephanie. So they were that was when you were starting to sing before.
Okay, so I have a question. Just in case it happens again, what do you want me to sing, folks? So I can be prepared.
There you go.
Use the selenite as a microphone. It'll even out the tone.
I have a question for you. Well, I don't know, more an observation, and maybe you can expand on it if you have something that. So, above all, like, so Stephanie has, for those of you who aren't familiar with her channel, every morning, predictably, I'm sure at some point there won't be one up. That's just how life works. I'm still due for a weekly Ascension Symptom video that's like half of a week late probably now, but anyway, and then she does these card readings and these profound messages, and it's just in sync with the collective every morning. I'm bringing this up because I went to your YouTube channel and I saw that you started your page just around in March, which is really significant because everyone seems to have a March-February activation window. I started my channel also on March 4th. You started March 8th, but you were 2014. And so I bring up 2014 specifically because that is the window that my daughter chose to come in and be incarnated at that time because of the location of Pluto and a variety of other things made what she's able to do possible. So I don't know if you even knew what you were doing or do you know what that was happening at that time in your experience?
Well, let me just preface it by saying this. In order for me, this being to be an efficient channel, all of my memory has been cleared through late stage low bottom alcoholism. And it has come back. I work with it every day still. You know, I do lumosity and I do the exercises and it's gotten better. I remember some stuff now. But what happened before that happened, most of it's gone. So I'm sure I just wanted to like a video, you know, because as we were speaking before, being helpful to others, service to others is such a large part of my life. So if I just can't find anyone to help, and I walk that line of not being overly helpful, right? But if I just can't find anyone to help, I will go onto some social media platform and start liking small channels, you know, people who only have a couple of views and no likes. You know what I mean? Just to give them a little boost, because I know how good it makes me feel when someone says, hey, I listened, and even if they don't listen, you know what I mean? It's just someone reaches out, someone attempts a connection. And the readings are, I make time, I meditate twice a day, and team said I needed to start doing these, and I was already for a couple of years doing readings and sending them out just to some friends. Mm-hmm. And then it kind of morphed into this, and they're going, you know, this thing's exactly what's going on in my life. This applies to me. Yesterday, that one, it totally came up. And so team said, yeah, you see, can you start doing those readings? And by the way, put your planetary sound healing tones behind them. Begin to get people using and used to the spin. That way, as your message goes out, not only our message goes out, but we begin to align and attune the collective vibration powerfully, because it's going out to starseeds, light workers, spiritual people, people who hold a higher frequency, right? And so we're doing energy work for the planet. for the collective just by listening. Because you carry those tones in your field. You know, it's amazing and it's fun. And it's like, sometimes I'll get these piles of cards, like, I have no idea where you're going with this, guys, you know, and they're like, oh boy, this is going to be a fun one, you know. So,
this is just the beginning.
right. It's amazing. And I don't, it's different beings will step up to the microphone. And sometimes they kind of push one another out the way, you know, so there'll be like Saint Germain with, you know, very, very formal speech, etc. That is, you are, blah, 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 you know, and then my Down syndrome Sasquatch will come through, but don't forget to skip, you know. And I put it all in. I just put it in the way they give it to me, you know. So I feel there have been a couple of days where I've missed. As you know, I do some pet sitting. I specialize in parrots, but I go away and I sit in the people's homes so the animals don't have to relocate. They can be in their comfort zone. And so rather than drag all of my sound equipment, all of my cards, blah, blah, blah with me, I developed a new skill. I just look into the future and they give me the reading for that day. So I pre-record them and I publish them one at a time. And it's just fascinating how apt they are.
Yes, I mean, right on. Yeah.
It's amazing. And I love it. Personally, this living this way in the flow, you know, just not questioning, just trusting, team of light, trusting the universe, doing the work, putting in the intentions, taking accountability for my behavior, making amends where I need to, changing my behavior, doing things differently, learning, right, staying open, growing, and trying new things. It's the way to live. I never dreamt I could live a life like this. I don't punch a time clock, you know, all my needs are met. I'm so grateful, you know, and now some bigger things are coming and happening. And it's not formalized yet, so I'm not going to make the announcement or whatever, but really exciting stuff. And it all has to do with awakening and metaphysical abilities and helping the collective. And I'm just so excited.
Yay.
So excited. Yeah.
There's so many. I was actually wondering the other day, because this is something I've said a couple of times now, what the plural for precipice is. Precipi, you know what I mean? Because there's so much of them right now. Like, I've never had the need to say a plural for precipice before, you know, and it's just everyone is at the finally more people are on the understanding of it's not the end of, it's the beginning of, like, right. You know, it's the same story, a different perspective, and then it becomes a whole different story. And Carmen made it, and Jackie made it. Hello.
Hi, Carmen. Hi, Jackie.
We have a couple of things soon, like Jacqueline Marie says, love that attitude. You never know who you're going to help when you share. And Mother Nature 61 says, you ladies are giving me goosebumps. And yeah, the conversation that needs to happen comes through. There's something else that you brought up in your in my mind, just a pop, you know, and so something pops, it's supposed to be said, is the conversation about withdrawal. And so what I mean by that is, as a species, as an individual, as well as a collective, go through ascension and awakening like stuff, most of us are just, it's very much like a butterfly and going into the chrysalis concept. Yes. Is that we need to withdraw and retract and be okay with that. Yes. And there are people around us. This is a conversation Stephanie and I had very briefly before, so I think that's why it's coming up right now. That being okay with those around you feeling offended, because it's not theirs. It's not yours to heal of theirs. Like, people often are, lately for me, they're like, you know, well, where were you? And I was doing healing. I was upgrading. I'm now a new being. Hi, you know, like,
I was living my life. I was living my life, and I'm accountable to me. I'm the boss of my life, right? So I accept all the responsibility of it, you know. I'm sorry if you're inconvenienced, right? But yeah, again, back to the, if I can't love myself, then how do you expect me to love you, you know? And what's so interesting, and another part that I hadn't mentioned before, is that as we're releasing the programs and surrendering all the programming we've had over our lifetimes, like, I have a lot of compassion for everyone, every one of us, as we set down these programs and step away. You know, it's I experience the same thing though. You know, I turn off my phone. I don't turn it off, but I turn off the volume and I leave it away for 12 hours a day because of the of the EMF, but also because I need peace. I need to not constantly be ding, 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 you know. And there were several people who got pretty heated about that. And it's not my problem, you know. If there was an emergency, I would be informed by my team, right? If someone really needed me, I would be informed. And there have been a couple of times where I have gone, they say, check the phone, I check the phone. Oh yeah, we could better deal with this right now, you know, kind of a thing. But yeah, stepping up to the plate and this is where AA really helped me. And I'm not going to go on and on about it, but they taught me that I am not a victim. I'm the one who did all of that to myself. And it's because of the way I perceive myself and my place in the world, you know? So like I did say, if there's something wrong with your life or yourself you don't like, it's up to you to fix it. And so being accountable for my behavior, being open to hear if someone has a problem with my behavior, and then decide, well, let's see, is this my problem or is this your problem? You know, and again, I'm sorry if I inconvenienced you, but I don't have phone between 7 and 7. So that's how it is.
I love that.
Yeah. So, well, it's just, there are many other layers behind it, but it really is like sacred to me now. It started out because of Bluey, because of this little rescue boy. He needed quiet. Yes. He's a budgie. So I've been a parrot person for, I don't know, 35 years. Yeah, and there's not a lot of them, but I'm down to budgies now. I just, whoever needs a home, you know, is who I take in. It's usually the ones that are sick, you know, or unwanted, you know, feather destruction, whatever. So, but I like that because then they get to learn how to trust again, you know? Yeah. So anyway, he needed silence. If he is not in bed at 7 p.m., he will ring his bell. He will throw his toys around the cage. He has even started barking. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So 7 o'clock, phone goes off, bird goes to bed, and I withdraw into the other room.
And he's there to help you to remember to do that. Like, it sounds like, you know, but if you think about it in the higher aspects of what it is, I'm sure you know that's why that's happening. And that's the reasoning for a lot of this, for him to be coming into your life. It's really common, by the way. You mentioned being in recovery. In fact, Jenny popped up, said, I'm a sober sister too, hearts. Yeah. And like, it's really common for people on this empaths, highly sensitive individuals, those of us who are starseeds that came here from a higher frequency space and came into this density, is you'd be surprised too how many of us at the last second and during birth were like, I don't think so. Like, no. There was some type of like the cord was wrapped around the neck, or they weren't breathing, or something about their heart, some type of never mind, you know. And like, what's fascinating too is that in every one of these one-on-one sessions that this has been a conversation that's been discussed and going back there, almost always there's other angels there, though almost always Archangel Michael is one of the main people that are like, remember why you're here, come on please, kind of thing, you know. We need you here, we really do, or else we wouldn't have asked you to come. Please, I'll be with you, I will be with you.
So, yeah, Archangel Michael, what would I do without him? But I mean, seriously, yeah. And I did notice that actually before even awakening or anything, once my brain began to function 3.5, 4 years in to recovery, is I realized that there are so many, I was calling myself a highly sensitive person at the time, so many HSPs. And self-medicating, but as we gain more understanding, as we remain open, to different views and stuff and different ways of life and learning, we discover, oh, you know what? I came here for a reason.
Yeah.
And this sensitivity that I have, oh, that's a gift.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to use it to help other people. Who would have thought? What?
Yeah, all of a sudden your liabilities turn out to be your assets.
Yes.
It's like, wait, it got it backwards. It's
Yes.
like, it's amazing. And the other part of it too is that all of us, so my experience, my first near-death experience, I had 5 throughout my life so far that are like really clear ones. Honestly, yeah. I feel like I had a lot more, those like small ones, but these are like,
undeniable ones.
Yes,
it
exactly.
Happened. Yeah.
I can for certain count them, and like, the first one was that my plan, the goal, whatever, I agreed to come here until I was 4. And that was it. And then I was going to go, and then I was going to come back in a couple of years in Tibet. Interesting, as an adult, then I went and did research. I knew exactly when I was going to be born. I was going to be an orphaned girl in Tibet. What's fascinating is when I was supposed to be incarnated was literally a year before the whole Tibet thing happened in the 80s.
Oh my word.
So like, it was really fun to look that up. But what was really amazing though is that when I was coming back, so it was like, hey, Bo, there's enough free wills that got into alignment just perfectly that we actually sped up the process. So our awakening was already 8 years ahead of schedule back in 1983.
Wow.
And so, and they were like, hey, you can do your job that you're going to do then. Now it's a lot of density. You're going to want to do this. I knew I wanted to, and it felt like I just barely for the first time, beat like the first level of the arcade Donkey Kong kind of video game. And now I was going to do the most complex multi-dimension, video game. And it was exciting and challenging. And then and the example that I'm doing is like cards, but each thing was trauma. And there was a whole bunch of it. And there wasn't supposed to be that much. When we come in as starseeds or whatever it is you want to call us, we then go, okay, well, for 5 lifetimes, this person's been adding that same trauma more and more and more, and they can't do it. They can't heal it. And so we would pick trauma as we come in. And there was more than there should have been. So I picked like a whole bunch. And I was like, all right, here we go, and I knew that when I did that removed I consent to die on purpose early kind of thing. And in fact, that specific part of my agreement is what I've had so much resentment at myself about, anger of making that choice. It's like, because I was really suicidal for a period of my life, and people die on accident all the time, man.
I know. It's like, why won't you let me leave? Seriously. Yes. Well, that's
so we have this trauma that needs to be covered, or that we tend to cover up through self-medication often. Sorry, please.
No, the whole trauma taking yourself out thing. I mean, literally, I have made more than one attempt. I mean, the most serious one and the closest I got was taking 100 sleeping pills, waking up 13 hours later, still not dead. 100 sleeping pills when I'm 20 years old. I mean, come on, right? So I went downstairs and drank some Drano. I'm still here, which led to the tattoo. The singing, dancing cockroach wearing a velvet top hat and a Ravenclaw diadem.
I love him.
Because you can't kill me. You just can't kill me, literally. Right. I will survive anything. Yeah, so I survived. I don't remember any of it. I was told I wasn't very
Cockroaches and
pleasant. Yeah,
Twinkies is what's going to be left behind if there's ever like.
exactly. One of them will be me. La cucaracha. Yeah. So, but yeah, the trauma, and actually, I've been told from more than one source that that's what I came here to do, was do the real groundbreaking, deep held trauma programs, begin transmuting them, because apparently it is my skill. It's my galactic skill. I am like a top programmer, the go-to gal that they do to transmute trauma on any world, especially if it's real resistant and difficult. I'm the first one in. So here I am, full of trauma. But you know what? And I never thought I would be able to say this. I'm healing it.
Yeah.
Once I let go of the drama, I could heal the trauma, you know?
Yeah.
And this culture, our world, is so good at programming us and telling us that the drama is what's important. I believed it. I mean, literally, it was, I mean, everything.
Right.
But it's just like fear. You know, it's not real, and it doesn't matter. You know, it's
Right.
and life's so much better without it. Life
Yes.
does get real, you know, and that's when you can do things like choose yourself, you know, and take 12 hours to yourself and say, I'm going to only do what I want to do. I'm only going to think what I want to think. I'm only going to hear, you know what I mean? And just be, and just allow freeform flow, you know?
Yeah. And then truth can make its way in
Yes.
with all
Easily.
that distortion and disruption and distraction. It's all a bunch of disses. It's dissing you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's just crazy how much of that is meant to just make you forget what you're doing, kind of, you know,
Yes.
and like to not be so in a part of the, and then we start to do it. We start to remember how important it is, because if it, after you raise your frequency to a certain point, if you can feel the technology, you can feel the noise. And like my kiddo and I, there's a place that we go that there's no reception of any kind. And even though I don't have my phone with me, I can still feel all of it. And we'll be driving along. And it was really fun because I didn't even know about this line until we crossed it the first time. And you drive past, it's just on the back road here. And you drive through it. As soon as you cross a certain landmark, it's like these stones, like on both sides, large boulders. It's like they marked it as if they knew.
Interesting.
Yeah. As soon as you cross that, you can feel your whole, it's like your soul sighs in relief.
Oh, man.
Like you sinking into a bath or hot kind of feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. And
You
like
just expand.
we'll go hide over there, and it's not hide, but we'll go there and spend time there. Really, we're just avoiding not being with this. But people are starting to figure it out. So people are starting to go in our sacred spot.
Oh, my word.
What are you doing in my nature?
And yeah, that's the place where we get to refocus and say, look how great the process is going, you know? Look how many more people are awake. You know, have you talked with any of them?
Yeah, I have. Actually, they're some of them are part of this big Sasquatch family retreat that they're doing in my area.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of they're all either on their way into their awakening. Yeah, I think they're just early, you know, like I mean, beginning kind of stuff. It's really cool. It's fun to watch and see yourself and forget that you were like that.
Right.
So you see yourself and it's like, oh, I thought I was so in tune. You know?
Sorry, that's really funny to me. Yeah. I let that go too, but I am not the cool kid. I never have been. As we were talking about earlier, you know, I've given parties and had birthday parties where people were invited and no one came. I mean, I'm that person because I always have been a direct speaker. You know, I really try to just say what I mean and mean what I say, and to walk in the way to walk in alignment with my words, because to me, words don't matter. They don't.
No.
Actions matter.
Right.
And that's what will remove me in my attention and my presence from humans, just like that. If your actions don't match your words, I'm gone. I'm just gone. There's many other ways to spend my time.
And that you do it with love. Like, you can feel the love. It feels like a mom no. When mom says, and she means it, and she may even be screaming when she says no, you still feel the love. You may have a quaked soul because you know that the vengeance of the goddess of the house is coming down upon you. Yeah. Yes. But it's still with love. There's still love there.
It's because there's love and concern. Exactly. And, that's something else that I think, and I really believe, is love is not floaty pink soft. I wouldn't be here if my friends didn't love me enough when I was self-destructing to put me out and put me to living in my car. Just say, we're not going to watch this any longer. You're affecting us. Go do it somewhere else. That took an extraordinary amount of love to do that. It scorched their hearts because they love me. They're my friends, and that takes strength. That takes courage. That takes it, like parental love, that takes dedication and discipline to be able to stand behind that. And if the entire world hadn't turned its back on me, if I hadn't burned down my life to that point, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't be. I would be drooling in some institution if I was still alive at all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm with you. It's like, it's astounding to look back and go, wow, like everything is just exactly the way it was supposed to be.
Yes.
We mentioned, by the way, earlier about the suicidal stuff, and a few people had commented, so I'm going to bring up that there's no way are we encouraging that. And
no, yes, oh God, no. Please.
Someone said, yeah, it's definitely 100%. I mean, please stick around. If you're watching this video, you're part of this awakening, and you're part of the solution, and your energy and your frequency is needed, even when you feel like it's, because a lot of us, what's also happening right now too is that we've been going through these waves of dark night of the soul on a global scale. And we're kind of in one right now. And I really would love it for that name to go away, because dark night of the soul doesn't actually describe it very well at all.
Not at all.
It can feel dark because a lot of times we'll find ourselves shedding relationships. And so we feel alone for a little bit, which is why we have these communities that we can connect on. But it's really the light being shown on the soul to show you what cobwebs are there, and like another way is it's like you're now evolved enough, even though maybe it doesn't feel like it when you're in that density, that you're evolved enough and your frequency high enough that now you have the ability to heal these things. So they're like, hey, just like a video game, now you have enough points, you want to buy me, kind of thing.
You're level 25, you get the golden key. Okay. So and that was one thing I wanted to add. I do not condone suicide. I'm talking about it in a dismissive manner because I have survived serious attempts, and I'm just disclosing my experience. It also sometimes will open the door for other people to begin looking at things that may have happened to them. What
most
I have learned,
suicide attempts, as far as I can tell.
Yes,
most.
And the self-medication, definitely, whether intentional or not. So,
or been suicidal. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. That not everybody's attempted, though. Most of us feel very.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, the dark night of the soul, or whatever new name we're going to come up with it. But it is a really permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right.
And if we can detach our emotions from that problem and just exist for however many hours, because usually it's only a few hours, and then some resolution begins to come through. So if we can just breathe through it, give it a little bit of time, and now there are so many resources. There wasn't a suicide helpline back in 1978. No such thing existed. They had locked me up because I was reporting the voices I heard, the people I saw, the blah 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 blah. They locked me up,
Right.
you know, and but it was my reality. I had no one to relate to. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I was a confused almost just turning 21-year-old.
Mm.
No resources, no one to connect with. Right. So I'm not justifying it at all. I am not justifying my attempt. I'm just saying it happened. I
Oh, yeah.
survived it, and I can speak to the matter with authority, you know? Not
And
with,
most of us can relate, which is awesome to bring out these truths, you know. And so it was really good to cover that. It is
yeah.
very, you know, sleeping pills can do some long-term damage on your body. You're right. Sarah had mentioned.
Yeah.
Also, there's a couple other things so Tommy says, yes, you won't die if it's not meant to be. And then Sarah, and then Jackie says, oh my goodness, Stephanie. Sarah says, my dad took them once, sleeping pills, one, I think, actually, and took them very early at night. By bedtime, he looked like he was having a stroke. His speech was like slurred and barely blinked.
Mm-hmm.
Trey B says 33. It was 3 o'clock and 33 minutes passed. She had 99% on her phone, and there were 33 watching.
Beautiful. And my channel, I'm Stephanie A 333. 333 is my life path. Yeah.
Right.
So
I love
cool.
it. That's
Thanks,
why I wanted to
baby.
do that specifically. Oh, and then we have a couple more things. You don't mind if I
Okay.
read
No,
them?
go ahead.
Okay. Spiritual warrior, that happened to my poor mother, difficult birth. You know, I don't know a lot about you, Stephanie, or sorry, I said Stephanie, spiritual warrior, excuse me. Though I wonder if she's like your mother is a first waver. First wavers do tend to have a lot more stuff like that, but the difficult birth stuff is really common for most of us because of that very fact. We're just like, jump ship, this place is dense. Like, I didn't realize what I told my degree to.
Right.
But what it feels like when you come back is as if someone, like, all of a sudden your whole body turns into concrete, is what it feels like. It feels like your body turns to concrete, because then it's also difficult to breathe and it's harder to move. There's 33 people watching again. It's harder to move, and the pain, even though your body's not in pain, it's painful. Your body hurts to be in. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's really bizarre, and we don't realize it because we've slowly gotten used to it over time or whatever. And just that alone makes the body say, I don't know,
Right.
you know,
Are
not
you
to mention
sure?
all the other energetic kind of density we have here.
Right, right. Yeah. And the stuff we're not even aware of, you know, that we're so busy pushing down and pushing away because we don't even know it exists. I mean, it's changing now, and, you know, things are coming out about, you know, who really runs the planet and all the different, you know,
Right.
dimensions that live here, and we're never alone, even if we want to be, really. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. I lost it.
It's true though. And like, one of the things that you touched on, I'm going to bring up, so I'm going to read this comment first. Jacqueline and Marisa, that seems like we just feel so much that sometimes we look at escape from those feelings. We aren't judging or thinking you are justifying it. You are brave for sharing. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jacqueline. That's
And blessed
nice.
by the heart, or blessed by the best. Blessed by the heart. That's funny. I said that. You must be very heart connected. Thank you very much. It's important. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
There's something to note as well, is that, or we already kind of addressed it a little bit, but just, I'm trying to edit to stop saying but. That particular word, I've had a hard time making it come out of my that's how I start a sentence often. I'll say
Oh.
something and then, like, but blah 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 blah. Then when I say but, it's the most important part. Always. And so I'm saying it's Elsa Dillon from Spin Built Beings, a mutual friend of ours. She is really good at reminding me those things, even if she's not here or
Yeah.
talking to me in any way.
Yeah.
I can feel her in is it gremlins or goblins or somebody that talks her through, and hey, the importance of clarity and in voice and tongue and pen or whatever. I can't remember.
It's goblins. It's the goblins. Yeah. Yeah. Which actually, I had a couple at the last sit I was at, one in a rock and one in the tree. So it was very interesting. Because they were correcting my language, but it was the middle of the night. They woke me up out of bed to do it. But then, after 2 nights of that, I don't even remember what it was about. It was something that I was saying that I didn't realize was a word that was a trigger word for the animals that I was taking care of. So I needed to fix it so that we could all smooth out, right?
That's cool.
And yeah, it was. But then the third night I got woken up, I went outside and a Sasquatch materialized across the street. It was awesome.
Wow.
This is in like kind of kind of country. They have chickens and stuff, on 3/4 of an acre, and it's a dirt road, but there are neighbors pretty close. It's not a real neighborhood. It's not a real suburb. It's just like the next step away.
Right.
So it's not farmland. So, but he came in for a reason, because I believed, and I had just seen a craft in the sky. I went out to vape, and I look up in the sky, zoom, light speed. I love it when I see those, and then I look across and there's a face. And there was a face, and there was this big body that was trying to hide behind a tree this big. It was you just came through so I could see you, right? Thank you.
That's awesome.
Zoop, gone. It was amazing. So I had to get over my resentment for being woken up 3 nights in a row because something really cool happened.
That is really cool. That is really cool.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of experience with Bigfoot too. Like I'm near the Spokane area, so we're over here in like Bigfoot country.
Yeah.
Like there's actually restaurants that are called Bigfoot and have big, like, they make them like angry, like a monster. They're like, and they big statues out of wood. They're cool looking until you see the face, and it's like, oh, why do you got to diminish? All the experiences I've had have been beautiful. One time I was being warned to leave the premises. I was going really deep into the woods, and they leave signals and signs. Like there's like weird twisted, they take these sticks and twist them in like a very obvious way. You can tell someone manipulated it. They usually leave tufts of fur, and it just, the odor, it's not very pleasant. I think that's like a cat spraying. I think it's like that's what it is. It's not them. They don't smell that bad. No,
they can turn it on and off.
Also like a skunk is another example.
Or a week-long bag of garbage that's been sitting in the sun. Something like that. But not everybody, even people in the same hiking party, not everybody will perceive it. Only the one that's supposed to get the message and that has a frequency in order to, and once they make contact, then the Sasquatch are with them always, It's pretty amazing. I never thought I would be gifted a visitation in the flesh, and I was.
Especially where you're at. You're pretty
It's
populated.
It's not city, but it's not country, not by any shot, even if they have chickens. So, which I love. Little hens walking around.
It's really cool that you had that connection, and that I feel like that we're going to get more and more of them, and like the aggressiveness that I experienced was only just go away, but I could also sense a bunch of young energy. So there was children.
There were children
protected.
Exactly.
And
being territorial for a reason.
And those types of stories are the ones that people usually tell. Then that's sad for my heart. Like it's just like they're so cool and loving. Like actually, someone just said that Sasquatch are highly intelligent beings.
Oh my God, yes.
And loving, very loving.
Yes.
Earthy, like they're just very like. They're the ones that someone stepped on a plant, they'll be over there like, oh, and trying to help the plant to be, that's their energy. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they come in to help us. They, so where I lived before, I lived in the middle of the woods. That's where I had most of my encounters. And they used to bring us things. Like just leave them by it was like a yard or two from the front door. They wouldn't come right up to the front door.
Right.
and some of the things were like, well, we really didn't need to have that. Thank you. Just like a cat would do. You're like, oh, good. There's
Yeah.
that.
Right. Thanks.
But it was fun and it was a good exchange. And I felt really protected because of it too. There was a community energy of, even though it was just me and my 4-year-old at the time living in the middle of the woods, it was still felt like we were sharing space.
Yes.
So
it was community. It literally was, and you were awake enough at that time to communicate with them, Do you telepath with them?
I do. It's funny. That's the main thing I do at night here. Like I go outside and after everyone goes to sleep and I can do whatever I want, I'm outside until usually about 4 o'clock in the morning. That's my problem. Is I'm doing it for so long that I've completely lose track of time.
Yeah.
And I still haven't done the dishes. So I'll come in and it's like, well, now I got to do dishes before I can go to sleep. And then my daughter's going to wake me up in like 4 hours or something.
Oh my, yes.
And I don't nap either. So it's like this, it's collecting. It's just getting.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Oh my word. I'm really hoping that, because it's since before Lionsgate last year, that's when my sleep tanked. If I get 5 hours of sleep a night, it's like I'm well rested. I've just won the Olympics, It's such a blessing and it's so infrequent, so, but you are able to just walk outside your door and stars and the nature, you're a lot less you're unplugged, you're unplugged. And
kind of, we're in a mill town. And those, I was so excited when the power went out because the mill, it's like a lumber mill. It's very large and loud and bright. And it's close enough that that's all you hear, this machine all night long. And then the bright lights and stuff. Anyway, the power went out for the whole town. And I cheered, I ran outside and I was like, yeah, I get to see the stars better. They have a generator.
Oh, these humans, what will they think? What will they do to keep their money flowing? Okay, you just take a day off. That's so interesting because out my window, I live behind a Korean restaurant. So their machines, their roof and their atmosphere machines are constantly on, and they have like daylight. When the little birds come here, if they stay here overnight, they sing all night because they think it's daytime. It's that bright because they're afraid someone's going to steal from them. It's okay. I live on the blade, that's a possibility. It's happened before, so, but come on, let us sleep, Can you just aim them down at the ground by your door and not have them come over your roof? So it's, anyway, but I find that an interesting synchronicity, and something that feels like it needs to be said is how quantumly connected we all are.
Yes.
Even when I turn off my phone or when we hermit, when we withdraw to do our healing and stuff, we still are getting messages and having conversations and perceptions and communication through the field. And if it's important, we're notified. Now, I'm interested in the chat because I feel Jackie a lot. There's other people too from the group that I feel all the time. And I hope you can feel me back because I answer when you ask. So, yeah.
Someone actually just posted, Mariana, just posted the Schumann is spiking hard, just got an alert. And my first thought was, we're doing it as we gather. Like, we're gathering globally, so it's not as pinpoint. You can't pinpoint it as easily as you could
before.
Yeah, because we're now connecting in this way where it's like we're all over the planet. And there's actually a couple of comments that I haven't read if you would like me to continue.
Yeah, go ahead. Okay. Sure.
So we have a lot of new people who have joined too since we started that last conversation. Mick asked if that was Bigfoot, and yes, of course, and yes, it was. And Trey B says Sasquatch. Oh yeah, I read that already. Okay, red herring media. Cryptids are such a fascinating subject, especially in these times. Michelle says, are these beings experiencing the same ascension symptoms that we have? Are they ascending with us? Yeah, I would say that all are. Everyone is. And so, yes, if
See,
you're on amoeba on here are ascending in some way, like,
I kind of disagree. They're more
yeah.
aligning than ascending because they're already
Okay.
ascended,
That's a good point. Yeah.
but they're aligning and they're enjoying the attunement. And I feel the same way. I wanted to validate your point. I feel that we're going to be having much more open contact with them in the next couple of years. They're coming
Yeah.
forth. They're doing it intentionally. They've been doing it slowly from different areas, and they're coming forth. They're the wise ancestors that we need to help guide us. Very highly developed civilization. So
Yes. And
yeah.
all of the animals, all of the, I've noticed the evolution of all, even like I'm getting a lot of conversation with people about their pets too, and watching them ascend and using crystals.
Oh
Like
my gosh, yeah.
the one common thing is people using the just any kind. I'm using this as an example. You just trace any kind of crystal down their spine,
Yep.
starting from the top of their head.
Yep.
Some people are kind of guided to do it a different direction, like from the tail up. I find that most animals like the other way.
Because it doesn't go against their fur.
Yeah.
I do that. Bunny, who's an old lady pug that I sent for, she will come and stand in front of me, and now she does it like once an hour to get her Reiki, her energy bumped up, and to have a little selenite rub down her spine, and if her feet are aching her, then she'll just pick up her paws, and we'll clear her
Awesome.
paws. Yeah, but it gets to be a lot. There are 24 hours in a day. So when she does it once a day, I mean, let's up her CBD, okay? Shall we? She's not comfortable.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And
So,
just actually, there's a comment too. Is our cats and our dogs, etc., are definitely evolving within the ascension process, and I
yeah.
agree. But and the idea, the concept of considering a child, some children, and that there's been a distinction that's been made recently. I've never really paid attention to this. I knew that the children that were born after 2012 were all going to be more in alignment, the DNA was going to be more online when they came in or something like that. And I didn't really know all of the particulars, just that was the limited channeling that I got, because that's all I needed to know at that time, honestly, is why that's all I got.
Right.
And now the past couple of months, there's been a very clear distinction that those who were born pre-2012 are, a lot of them, having a certain type of ascension symptom. It's having to do with the same sacral area that a lot of adults are having, like the sacral chakra, the stomach, the belly area. And post 2012, those kiddos aren't having that same symptom. So it's like you can tell the difference. And the extremeness of the tweens, the kids that are just 2012 and a little earlier, it's as if they were having the most severe like menstrual type experience, male or female alike, just causing vomiting and all kinds of stuff. Just and then it goes away after a few days. I'm bringing this up because the 2012 and thereafter kiddos are like these animals that we're talking about in my head. Like, they're already ascended. However, there's still going to be some things that they're working on, and that they're occasionally, my 8-year-old will have sensation, like something that we're all talking about as a group, as adults. Then she'll, end up telling me later on that she's having something that's very similar to that, just a little more subtle, not as intense.
Yeah,
So,
fascinating.
just something to, so yeah, we all are. And it's all, it's a partnership and a sharing. There's a couple of more comments that Red Herring had said earlier. I think I did read that. It's so cool to have all you here. Thank you all for joining us today in this fun chat. And Traby says, not only that, but I think that our animals are our guides in many ways. Yes. I agree. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I have had the experience twice for sure, when a piece of my soul reincarnated to support me through a certain period of time. My Blue Point Siamese Soma, I knew when her mother was pregnant with her, I knew there would be a blue point in the litter. It was female and she was mine. Yeah. And so my friend said, okay, well, if that comes true, then she is. And it was. And just a short story, I had a bone infection in my foot, and I was 2.5 years in casts on and off crutches,
Oh, goodness.
because they couldn't cure it. They couldn't get, because I'm allergic to all the antibiotics. I can't
What
take
foot?
them.
Left or right?
Left, yeah. So 10 surgeries. I mean, this whole thing is a whole thing. And so I'm trying to work my little corporate job in my suit and my briefcase, and 2.5 is a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they were talking about cutting off my foot, and I'm like, I don't think so. And my mom said the same thing with her cancer leg. You're not taking off my leg, I'll just die.
Right.
You're not taking it. And so I said the same thing about my foot. Well, someone came driving. We lived in the country then. Someone came driving along country road, drove up 30 yards onto our lawn and ran over her, drove off our lawn and drove away. It smashed her left leg, her back rear left leg. So $3,000 worth of surgeries. I mean, she said, just please bring me through it. It doesn't matter whether I have my leg or not. I will survive it. I promise you. When I was because the vet's saying just put her down, not fix, but she'll never be right again. And I'm like, but it's soma, I mean, and she's like, don't kill me. Okay. So I paid the money, got the surgeries, kept her in a playpen, for 10 weeks. And she came out, and she jumped up on a low coffee table, broke again. So back she went to the vet, and they took her leg. She brought herself home 2 days later, ripped her stitches out, and was fine. My little tripod running around, 3 legs. I'm done with all this medical crap. Get it out of me. I'll heal fine, thanks. And she did. At that point, my bone infection began healing and was healed within 3 weeks. I was out of cast, off crutches, and I was healed. The skin grew back, everything. By the way,
she transmuted it.
She did. She gave her leg for mine.
Wow.
Yeah. And by the way, that bone infection began in Spokane. Just saying.
Well, I don't claim Spokane.
I wouldn't either.
From it. Yeah.
No, there's wonderful people that live there. Yeah, there really are. But
it's very populated. I'm much more remote than Spokane. We used to go there about every other week or so, but only to like the edge, like the north of it. It was Spokane, but going into the valley, I had to do that 2 times to take people to the Greyhound, and I was just like, it was so uncomfortable.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Energy wise, it's a lot. Density.
And I was back there, so that was like the 80s. So it just
a lot smaller back then.
Salt of the earth. It just closed minds, like racist and homophobic. The straw that broke the camel's back, and this would have been anywhere I lived, doesn't have nothing to do with Spokane, all right? But a man was beaten nearly to death because he was coming out of a gay bar. Well, his car had broken down, and he had to go in there to use a payphone, and he came to call his girlfriend to come get him. And I can't deal with that. No, that's not okay. I just came back.
Yeah.
Not okay.
Happy we're leaving that stuff behind.
I really am too.
It's so beautiful to see. And then we have the hurt that comes up that naturally needs to be healed and looked at. That's the thing, is that what's most of us have done at some point in our life, though we've been conditioned and taught and raised to do this, that if you ignore it, it goes away. And that's not true.
Ever, in fact, right? It's really never true.
Yeah. If we just are, if we're neglecting it, it might slowly go away. But if you're ignoring it full on, what you're doing is you're actually imprisoning the energy and saying, you're never going anywhere.
That's right. You're staying with me, baby.
Yeah.
I got you.
Get comfy, and so what's happening is as this culture, I started hearing it in the neighborhoods before, is people would say, oh, trigger, and that meant stop talking about that because you're triggering me. And I've always known somehow, like, I don't go, oh, I'm going to trigger that person and push some buttons. I'm not that person, though. At the same time, if it's coming out naturally and the trigger is coming up, the trigger is, hey, look at me. I can be healed now. I can
be healed now. Right. Hey, just take a look. Here's an opportunity. You want to let me go? Can you set me free, please?
Yeah.
I love you, but you're old and I want to go, I want to let allow this thought form to dissipate, right?
Yeah. It
And
has it's energy that's needed elsewhere.
yes. I don't know about you. Okay, this just came up. When I call back in meditation, at least once a day, I'll call back all the psychic darts, spears, and arrows that I placed with others and all the energetic cording, sever them, bring in healing light from Mother Mary, replace them with healing light, and then in the earth with my fingers, I open to the pit of light, right? The pool of light of the Creator, and I just surrender all of that miscreated energy that I did for recycling. So I consciously return that energy, close the light, right, and go on about my day and say, I need to do better. I will do better, right? So, yeah.
I do the same thing.
You do?
Yeah, it's similar. What I do is when I'm in meditation, it's almost like I'm remote viewing when I do this kind of thing. But I'll go down and I'll follow the pool. There's a lot of those pools. These are like, it looks the closest thing I can call it. It looks like milk almost, but like thicker. And like there are a whole bunch of them all over inside the planet. So when I first started doing the energy Gaia work before in the beginning, there were these pools of tar like energy, and this was not supposed to be here, and it wanted to go, and it's trapped. And anyway, we've been liberating it. That's what a lot of us Gaia workers have been doing. When I was given the term Earth empath, that was one of the most activating things for me. Is then it helped me down a rabbit hole, and then started to really understand. All of us are Earth empaths, by the way, but it's really helpful to follow that particular wording because it gives you some information. Anyway, slowly we were changing this density into this light, and now you can go in there and follow these pools, and they're bubbling up. So some areas on the planet, it's like it's coming to the surface and it's ballooning, and it's swelling up, and it's not like, oh no, kind of anticipation. It's like, but you just know it's going to pop. When it pops, it doesn't pop. It just like goes over, and just kind of, it's very slow motiony. One popped over through Australia, exactly where our friend Elsa's at. And what a
surprise.
Yeah. I was trying to tell her about it. And as soon as I was trying to tell her about it, she was like, I have to go. The boat sinking, like when that popped, that was the same moment.
Oh, the shipwreck. Oh, my word.
That was real time. And she was like, ah, and then she laughed.
I remember that moment. I was there. I mean, I was in the chat. Yeah, I remember. Holy moly.
Yeah.
So interesting. Now the pools of light that I interact with have begun to sparkle, actually. Yeah, which it was not the case before, So
microscopic crystals.
Yes, just those small incremental, that what we're doing is making a difference, even if we can't see it, with our eyes.
We can feel it.
It is, and it's those small encouragements that keep me going anyway, they just light me up. Or when you see someone who, you help them, a little bit, or maybe make a suggestion about an ascension, a hack, something, this works for me, and you see it land, and that's what keeps me going, it makes it worth it, and then the big stuff happens. It's like, oh my God, I'm so glad I didn't die. Wow, this is getting pretty great, just in time for me to enjoy it, cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I've been doing that too. This lately, just wow, I'm so happy to be here. I'm so honored to be part of this journey and being witness to it, and like knowing how many energies would do pretty much anything to be in my position.
Right.
And then I get to be here. I'm the one that's sitting here. You're the one sitting here, and we're all on this journey together.
Yes.
And for those of you who didn't get a chance to participate as much, because I didn't get to read everybody, but it's been really cool to see all the support, and knowing right now Natalia, I want to read hers really quick. She says, anyone been sad or have depression today? A lot of us do find that sensation when the energies increase. And that's due to just what we said before, is that all of a sudden now your battery pack is fully charged for healing. And so there's like, hey, what about me? You want to heal me? You want to heal me? You know, and like, here's all the different places that you can put the healing energy at today, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so as it comes up, giving yourself a chance to be gentle with yourself. If you have the abilities, I'm talking about all of you who are here, but I want to extend a specific invitation to Natalia, is that in 2 hours, a little less than 2 hours, we're going to do our group meeting. And you're welcome to join and just be in a place. You don't have to talk. No one who comes has to talk or have their camera on if you don't want to. And it's just a bunch of people on this journey together that are sharing, you know, and so to be in that place might be helpful for you. I also wanted to ask you before I have to wrap this up, because I got to go make lunch before I do my group.
Oh yeah.
So those kids have to eat like 3 times a day.
Oh my gosh. Right. I know. And did you ever think that would happen?
I know. Do you offer do you do sessions at all, or?
Oh yes, I do. I do guided shamanic journey sound healing meditations, and so I just will arrange with someone who's interested, and as long as they give permission to their team to talk to my team, they get together, they pick the specialist, they tell me what to play, how to do it, what setting I'm going to be talking you through, and then we get to do the magic.
It's
you know,
really
and it's just Zoom. It's just Zoom, and it's usually right before you go to bed and right before you go to sleep. So the effect has the longest time to sink in. Then I'll email you an audio copy so you can listen to it a couple of times and really get those tones settled. And I guess it's been quite transformational for a number of people, and I've seen the changes in people. So I'm really grateful to be able to do it. So, and I just wanted to thank you, Pamela. The work that you do with this channel, seriously, it is so important. You have saved my bacon and pulled my fat out of the fire, and I've seen you pull others with your comments, with your discussions, with your following and just speaking out what needs to be said. You light people up, you bring us together, and it is beautiful. It's so necessary, and I just thank you for doing it.
Thank you. That was really sweet of you to say. I really appreciate that. Thank you. It's I don't even see it like that. I feel like it's more selfish. Like because I get so much out of it. I get what you're saying. I appreciate that. Thank you. Mm-hmm. For anyone who wants to find a way to contact Stephanie, once this is over, I'll put her link inside the title of this conversation, though I've put it throughout this chat. I just did it again. If you want to click that link, you can go to her channel and subscribe, please. Also, through there, you can find in her about her email. Is that how you are contacted? I
really just don't have any idea. You could just leave me a comment, and what I'll do is put my email up until you write it down, and then I'll take it down, because oh my gosh, my spam has gone off the start since I started posting these. But yeah, so I'll put it up for a minute, and then we'll just talk by email, or I'll give you my phone number. I don't care, you know, that's cool too. So yeah, it's just, if it's meant to be, it'll get through. It's always meant to be. So I love you. Thank you for inviting me to do this. It was so much fun.
The frequency. And I want to read one more comment, because this is, you know, Janice says, I hope that you two do more meetings like this on YouTube. Thank you. There's a bunch of people saying thank you. And Michelle just asked what your website is. I just put up her YouTube channel. So if you want to, is right below after you commented that. So, oh yeah, she says, thank you. You're welcome. Thank you all for joining. I do hope that we do this again at some point.
It's fun. It's fun. I'll have to come up with more costumes, which won't be a problem. Yes. Love you. Thank you. Thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate it, and I love you.
Thank you.